Editorial focused on Manyu County. We'll take a look at four segments, different aspects of Manyu County, which is not merely a geopolitical region in Ambazonia. Manyu County is a living museum of ancestral greatness, a spiritual furnace of resistance, and a geographical stronghold that has served as both the cradle and the crucible of the Amazonian liberation movement. Now, from the echoes of CBD inscriptions to the roaring defiance of Ekok's borderlands, Manyu stands as the confluence of history, culture, nature, and revolution. Now, today we explore four defining pillars of Manyu's significance: its anthropological and historic legacy, ecological and geographical endowment, its strategic military utility in the liberation movement, and its social, cultural, and educational leadership across southern Cameroon. Now, taking a look at the historical and anthropological grandeur of the Manyu people, we see a legacy that is etched in CBD and resistance. Long before colonial boots trampled the rich earth of Ambazonia, the Manyu people were already shaping civilization. The anthropological map of southern Cameroon would be incomplete without Manyu County, home of the Ejagam, Banyang, Anyang, and Boki people, who form part of the ancestral Bantu. Now, the archaeological research traces Manyu civilization as far back as 170 AD, with linguistic and scriptural evidence in the Nsibidi writing system, Africa's first ideographic communication system. The creation of Nsibidi by the Ejagam is a powerful testament that Manyu was a literate and organized nation long before Western contact. The Ekpe and Mbe institutions, deeply rooted in Manyu society, were more than fraternal orders. They were indigenous governments preserving peace, justice, and moral order using sacred Nsibidi symbols, rituals, and councils. Now, these indigenous systems are proof that Ambazonia's governance capacity is not borrowed from foreign models, but rooted in ancestral practice. Now, the colonial dismantling of Manyu's sophisticated clan systems by Germans and British alike could not erase this identity. Instead, it radicalized it. Today, this ancestral pride is a defiant reminder of La République, that Ambazonia was a nation before Cameroon was ever a state. Now, taking a look at the nature's blessing and geography, might, the ecological heart of the Midland Zone. Manyu is a land of marvels, blessed with an equatorial rainforest climate, and immense biodiversity, and unique tourist attractions that mirror its sacredness. The terrain covers over 9,500 square kilometers, including Lake Ejagam, the Bakwa Supe Viaduct, the Abgorkem waterfalls, and the German-built hanging bridge of 1908. Now, these are not just relics of history, they are living metaphors of resistance and survival. The Manyu River, originating from the Upper Banyang and flowing into Nigeria's Cross River, has not only served as a channel of ancient commerce and cultural exchange, but as a lifeline during the Liberation War, enabling strategic retreats, resource inflows, and humanitarian corridors. The lush forest of Takamanda and Monet reserves, home to the endangered Cross River gorilla, also harbors restoration fighters, the Amazonian State Army, and provide terrain mastery unmatched by any foreign military force. Manyu's hills, valleys, rivers, and forests have become natural fortresses for the Amazonian struggle, proof that nature itself is on Ambazonia's side. Now on to the strategic artery of war, the war for freedom. Manyu as a battlefield, base camp, and border of hope. We see that if the liberation war of Ambazonia were a body, Manyu County would be the lungs, taking in oxygen from cross-border networks and breathing out the fire of resistance. Often described as the gateway county, Manyu shares a vital border with Nigeria, giving it a transnational advantage to cross-border logistics, cultural solidarity, and tactical maneuvers. Now, from the Manfei GTHS raids to the Ekok front lines, Manyu was among the first to face the brutal colonial military invasion by La République du Cameroun, and yet it refused to Nil, Kembong Ebeko, and Osing have become modern symbols of martyrdom and of courage as well. The Amazonian State Army used Manyu's topography and kingship across the border to launch early missions, receive medical treatment, gather intelligence, and facilitate the passage of essentials needed for the struggle. Our communities across Manyu offered sanctuary and blood, showing a unique level of grassroots militarization and community-driven defense. The presence of natural escape routes, dense forests, and a population with deep cultural links to Nigeria counterparts made it possible for Amazonian to hold its ground at a critical phase of the revolution. Diving deeper into the cultural richness and educational leadership Manyu has, it is indeed the cradle of intellectual and spiritual resistance. Now, the fire of liberation cannot burn without fuel, and Manyu's culture, spirituality, and education are a blazing inferno. Despite being primarily agrarian, the Manyu people are among the most educated nations within southern Cameroon. Their philosophy of life is that even the poorest household must produce at least one graduate. Education is not just a tool, it is a weapon of emancipation. The spiritual life of Manyu blends Christianity, ancestral traditions, and cultural festivals, creating a moral and metaphysical base that sustains resilience. Cultural expressions such as masquerade festivals, traditional wrestling, and folklore storytelling are political acts of resistance, reminding the people of their identity, defiance, and of course, their duty. Furthermore, Manyu's culinary gifts to Amazonia and Africa at large, fufu and eru. It has transcended borders, becoming a national dish. This cultural export is symbolic. Manyu nourishes Ambazonia not just with food, but with courage, culture, and continuity. Well, Manyu indeed is the ancestral citadel of Ambazonia's hope. In the long journey towards Amazonian liberation, Manyu County is not behind the scenes. It is the scene itself. Its ancestral knowledge, ecological advantage, strategic depth, and cultural brilliance makes it an indispensable cornerstone of Amazonia's struggle for sovereignty. Now, as the people of Manyu continue to rise with dignity and fierce courage, they remind the world that this land is not only a war zone, it is a nation before that, rich in history, soaked in the blood of heroes, and destined for freedom. And when the freedom rings, it will echo loud through the hills and valleys of Manyu County.